Hello, what's up good people? Good to see you once again. Leo tunazungumzia 3 things ambao hufai kununua if una earn mshahara ya 60,000 or below that amount of money. Probably mahali uko unafikiria like this is the best salary that you're getting out there. And let me tell you one thing. The current Kenya that you're living in, bearing in mind tuna beat inflation ya 9.2%. Kuna vitu unafaa avoid as of now and actually live within your means. Otherwise, if you continue doing exactly this what I'm gonna talk about, then you're gonna get yourself into problems. So watch the video hadi to the end ndio uweze kuelewa exactly what I mean by this specific video. Alright, but before we do that, as always, because sitaki you miss any of my good future videos, nataka ufanye hivi. It's fast and it's free. Hapo hivyo chini on your right, there is a button written subscribe. Hit that magical button. Then on your left, there is a like button. Hit those two magical buttons. And guess what happens? You get to be notified when I upload a new good video. So for now, let's get into today's business. Now, hizi ni vitu gani hizi tatu ufai kununua when you're earning that amount of money? Okay. So, number one, I've been facing a lot of people calling me actually day in and day out telling me, hey, you know what, Joseph? Napatanga mshahara ya 60,000 ama 50,000 na niliweza kununua kagari like ya 600,000 na hiyo gari inafaa nilipange loan ya 16,000 at the end of the month. Rent yangu ni 8,000. So, sometimes they ask me now, what do I do because niko na mtoto mmoja nasomesha ama niko na watoto wawili, or I have other things that I have to support like the black tax and something of sort. Let me tell you one thing. Ukiwa na mshahara ya 60,000 and below, I would advise you just try to avoid getting yourself into car. Usinunue gari, especially unanunua gari yawe mwenye kukujibeba kukupeleka kazi, does not have any other commercial purposes. Shida ni unapatanga na watu wengi ni ati you buy a car that does not have any commercial purposes just for carrying you back to, or rather to job and back home. Probably if you consider the price of, let's say, the ticket or the fare or what have you, it does not even add up, because at the end of the day you have a loan that you're supposed to pay each and every month, probably like that guy ya 16,000 at the end of the month. All right, so the point is this: kama gari yenyewe ni ya biashara, kama ni Uber ama you want to use it in other commercial purposes that will generate you income, so it's better you go for it. But kama unajua gari is not for anything to do with businesses, just avoid it as much as you can, because I've gotten a lot of people actually, can you imagine this honestly? Let's just think about it. You're paying a car loan of 16,000, but your house rent you're paying like, let's say, like 10,000 or even 8,000. Honestly speaking, you're paying much to your car loan compared to how much you're paying for your rent. There is something somewhere, all right, that you're gonna get yourself into imbalances, because now you're living below, or rather you're living above your means. What you'll be forced to do, you'll be forced to get more loans to to service the current loans that you're having, and you're gonna get yourself kwa kitu tunaitanga the rat race. Rat race ni kumaanisha you're living from hand to mouth each and every moment. All right, so anyway, those are the things that you're supposed to avoid, especially when it comes to car ukiani yo mshahara ya 60,000 to or below that amount of money. If you want to buy yourself a car, which is a nice thing and I love it personally, if you want to get yourself a car, focus on getting a car that you know it's gonna do something at the end of the day. Say maybe you can do it with Uber, maybe on the weekends or maybe at the evening or whatever, just to do something for you to generate, or rather it has to do something that generates money for you back into your account. Don't get things that actually get money out of your pocket. All right, so number two, this is a thing that I've actually seen with a lot of people wanafanyanga each and every time, grabbing and getting those we call the high-end coffees and expensive and luxury coffees and what have you, and maybe just you're hanging around in a very expensive joint just because you want to fit in. That is the condition. If you want to fit in, say your buddies or your friends are kind of people who are probably earning more than you, or they are people who don't even care about how they're spending their money, so you just want to hang around with them because you're losing, or rather you're avoiding to lose the group or the hood that you're having with those guys. So the point is you're now stretching, or you're overstretching to fit in, like going to drink that coffee, just a single coffee maybe worth like 300 shillings or 500 shillings, and maybe let's say you're grabbing that coffee like 3 times per week. That's 1,500 gone. All right, so and then you remember back at home you have Wi-Fi that you're paying, you have some rents, you have some utilities and what have you, but 1,500 is gone. But this is the condition. If you're hanging around in these joints, the purposes of actually creating yourself a high network people where you're getting ideas, you're talking, you're discussing about business, you're gaining something. All right, they're telling you on how you can be able to save money, they're telling you on how you can be able to accumulate, store money, invest money. These are the areas that you can be. If you're gaining that kind of a thing and it costs you like, let's say, once per week that 500 shillings in terms of a coffee or a drink, then you better go for that. All right, so because You see, we always say that your network is always your network. But then if you're doing this on the purposes of just feeling happy, just being good, maybe let's say you're a doctor somewhere, you're a nurse somewhere, and you know one thing, these learned people, these people who work in the corporate industries or the fintech or the hospitals and what have you, these are the people who really mind about their status. They choose where they live, they choose how they dress and what have you. So if you funding status in terms of you going to drink in those joints and what have you, then I'm telling you, probably you're living according to the how much you're making or you're living above your means. And I say two things that you're gonna do, gonna shoot your foot. Number one, if you live the same life as the much as you're making, say you're earning 50,000, now you're living a 50,000 life, I am telling you at the end of the day you're remaining with zero in terms of your savings, which now accumulates to getting the capital and starting a business. Or you're living above your means, then that means that nothing is left as surplus for you to as well invest your money. So the point is this: if you're hanging those joints just in the name of, you know, making friends and just hanging around and just feeling happy, then that's the wrong thing to do it. But if you're hanging with those people or those areas or those joints for you to get good connections and network, for you people to make sure that at least in future you're gonna land somewhere, because let me tell you one thing, you know, birds of a feather flock together so that you can get something, then it's an amazing to do. But don't overdo it actually, all right? So that's the thing that you're supposed to do or not to do. All right. And the last one, but not the least, is about designer clothing. You find some people visually like each and every day from Monday to Sunday they dress to kill. All right. So the purpose is them feeling good and also proving to people, hey, guess what? You know, I got a job. You know what? You know, I'm employed. You know what? All those kind of things. Okay. So I know this one may not overwhelm the majority of people. The fact remains that you're dressing to kill out there just because you want to dress expensive and what have you. This money, I said, it's so basic compared to the current situation that you are in terms of economy and the inflation. You are supposed to live within your means, all right? Supposed to live within your means. Designer clothes are great and they are good. Don't confuse what we call the elegance or elegancy and expensive. There's a difference between you just dressing in a very nice way and just a simple way, and people cannot even tell the value of that specific suit you're wearing, or maybe let's say that khaki trouser or whatever the thing that you're putting on, or the perfume or what have you, just because you're doing something. You know, I always tell people it's good to sacrifice a certain period of time. Say if you were to sacrifice like 5 years, all right? You sacrifice 5 years, but then you secure like 20, 30, or 40 years from today. That would be the most amazing thing. Rather than living good for the next 10 years or 15 years, and then the next of your life when you still old and you cannot be able to, work as much as you can, then you don't have that strength. That would be the best decision you can ever make. So what I mean by the designer clothing is that I've seen a lot of people who chase the, what do we call them? There are people who chase, if there's a new phone coming out, an iPhone comes out, you're there with it. If it's a certain series of phones, if it comes out, you're there with it. If it's a certain clothing comes out, you're there with it. You're just chasing the fashions and what have you. You may be passion, you may be, fashion enthusiast. But again, it's good to make sure that you don't overspend yourself, because if you do, or if you overstretch yourself, then you're gonna get yourself into the same thing that I said in the very first beginning of this video. I said you're gonna get yourself into the rat race. And once you get yourself into the rat race, this is the time that when you get fired, then there is nobody who becomes stressful to a point whereby you even develop depression than you. So it is good to dress nice. At all the occasion, I always say, make sure that you dress nice. Make sure that you work on your communication skills. Make sure that you work on how you present yourself. You don't have to wear or maybe dress expensively, but if you do in an elegant life, then rest assured that you're gonna live in a better and a good life. But rather, instead of you just hanging around with expensive clothing, but on top of here you got nothing, right? So anyway, those are just but 3 things that you're supposed to avoid as early as of now, because if you don't, then you're gonna get yourself into problems, all right? And by the way, if you can just dissect what I've just said, you realize that most of those things, it's common with people who are actually employed. These people who employ themselves, they're running businesses, they are people who just do their daily hustles and what have you. They are rarely get caught with those things. Number one, they don't even mind and care about their status. Number two, you find them, even in terms of the dressing, it's not so big, and like to them, like let's say on Sundays, they have their Sunday best and what have you. So it is good to work towards those things. And maybe let's say you're employed in a bank somewhere. Of course, I know you want, or you have to. Actually, you don't want. It's you have to. It's by the rules that you have to look elegant, you have to look smart, and what have you. But don't confuse that with dressing and actually buying expensive things. And once you do that, anyway, I know that one may sound as if it's like I'm advocating for, sort of, there is term I'm looking for frugalism, be frugal and being minimalist and what have you. If that, then it means you raising yourself, raising your rudder to the next point, so be it. So be it. I always say, I'd rather look as if I don't think but I do, rather than look as if I think but I don't. Those are two different terms. It's good to make sure that at least you know exactly what you're doing. But when you get a salary increment, then you increase how you're spending your money, then you still catch up. You always play what we call the catch-up games, and you'll never develop yourself, because that's the most dangerous things. Anyway, if you're out there, this is the first time you're watching my video and you've managed to reach this video up to this particular point, I just want to say thank you very much. Don't forget to click that subscription button, as well as that like button. And by the way, don't forget to as well comment on the down below in the comment section. Tell me what you think. And by the way, am I still on top? And what else do you think I've left behind that should be I've covered on this video? Okay. And by the way, if you're still here, you're out there and you feel like you have a problem with salary, management skills and what have you, don't forget, you can just give me a call. I offer those services as pertaining to financial literacy, like consultations and what have you. I offer those services. I still write business proposals, business plans, talk about businesses. Maybe you're running a business out there, you're getting confused. Just give me a call. On the number is on the description of this specific box. I'm just so much cheaper. I'm so much affordable. That's what I should say. All right. And if you're out there, you still need my booklets about business ideas, business plans, about treasury bills, bonds, money market fund, on all those kind of investments, about shares. You can get you can get all of them if you need them. Actually, use the same number on the description of this specific video. Contact me on the WhatsApp, you get a copy. It's only 220, and we see you in the next one. So for now, it's a goodbye. And by the way, don't forget to like this video, and as well comment down below and share it if you're in a position to. For now, it's a goodbye. See ya.